Hello and welcome to this instruction video for iPico Wiz. Today we're going to talk about remoting. And when do you use remoting? Well, when you have more than one iPico reader usually, and one of them is too far away to connect via Ethernet. We'll use the example here for a 10 kilometers run with a 5 kilometers turning point. And you have a checkpoint on the 5K just to make sure that everybody actually runs the 10K. It should be noted that we're not providing internet for you, so you have to provide that yourself. This can be done by asking the local bakery or something for access to their Wi-Fi or maybe even a cable, which would be the most stable solution. You can also use 3G or 4G or GPRS or whatever your cellular providers provide. iPhones with tethering, Android, stuff like that. It does work, it actually works pretty well, but you have to realize that the network isn't always there. We had some problems, for instance, with a run where about 10,000 people were standing at one of the checkpoints and there wasn't any cellular network at all anymore, so we're missing a lot of data there. It shouldn't be a real problem for the software, as you can see later on when we demo it, but well, let's just say in such cases I wouldn't really count on having live data, especially if there's a lot of crowd there. So it won't affect the performance of iPico Wiz. You'll still get results, no problem there, but let's just say that live split time results are optional. Alright, let's get started. First thing we need to do is configure well, let's say the website of the cloud services, which is a new icon. You may have noticed it. It didn't do much in previous versions, but it does now. And the screen is on my screen instead of yours. Right, this is the cloud setting panel. You notice there's a couple of controls on there. These are all the races you have configured previously. This is a button where you can add a new race. You'll notice there's a number after the add new. This is the number of, I'll remove the mouse, it's a little bit easier to read. This is the number of web licenses you have. If you have never used it before, there should be 2 there, because you get 2 from me. And otherwise you can buy other new licenses if you wish, and just contact Dennis for that. Essentially, each web license gives you 2 checkpoints. So we're going to add a new race. I'm just going to call it a new race and set the date to today, which is fine. The extra info, well, just say extra info, you'll see where it ends up, and we'll add it. So you notice it adds the race, also selects it, which gives it a nice green color. Not sure why it took green instead of orange, but whatever. And you'll notice that it says a new race, extra info, and you get some statistics here. What you can use this to send the statistics, the tag map, the results, even the contestants and the distance info to our web server. It's optional, you don't have to do this, but it's nice if you have on the 5 kilometers you have a scoreboard there as well, and you would like to display the names. Now we all know that just before the race you always get an update in the contestant file, or even after the race started. And this way you can just send it to the internet, and on the remote site at the 5K they can just click the download button and they get the new contestant list, so you don't have to send somebody over there. It's nice. So we'll do that. Send the tag map, send the distance info, which is just actually the complete race information from the distances, and the contestants. And we're done. Now there's an enable live feed button here that doesn't do that much. We should be able to provide live information on the website soon. The website is under development. As soon as it's presentable, we'll show you how it works as well in a new video. And these are the remote iPicos. Well, you can see we have 0 of 2, so we're going to add one, which of course means that the screen that allows you to add it is on the wrong screen. And I'm going to call it check space 1. There's a very good reason I want to know exactly what it's named, because we're going to need that later on. But first we'll see it adds a checkpoint here. And actually we're done in the cloud settings screen, so we're going to close that. And you also notice that we suddenly have a remote iPico here, and it says check 1 and 0. That's the amount of contestant that passed the checkpoint there. So now I already configured the other distances, but I'm going to show you anyway how it works. They're all the same because I want to show the remoting, not actually how different distances work. But you'll notice that there's a checkpoint here called check space 1, exactly the same as there. That's very important, because tags received from this remote iPico will only go to this checkpoint. So it's very important that these are exactly typed exactly the same, no difference in spaces or cases. So we're going to check if all the distances are correct. That's correct as well. Correct as well. And correct as well. So that's good. Now you'll notice that there's 2 slots in the lab column. I can actually show that from the contestant panel as well. You'll see there's a check 1 and a finish, and both are not passed. Right, now I obviously also have to configure the iPico for the finish. So I'll add a new iPico. In this case it's a simulator. And I'm going to fill in the checkpoint, which we haven't done before. So I'm going to call this one finish. Now that sounds a little bit weird, but if you look at the contestant panel, you'll see we have a check 1 and a finish. If I don't fill in anything here, it'll just try and fill in as best as it can. That means it'll if the contestant crosses the finish line, it'll check and it'll try and find the first free space in the labs collection. So if that person hasn't finished or hasn't crossed the 5 kilometer point, or for some reason you lost connection to the 5 kilometer point, or I don't know, he cheated, it's also possible, it'll fill in his finish time at the 5 kilometer point, which I don't want. It should be at the finish. So by putting in finish here, it'll force it into the checkpoint called finish, which in this case is the finish, so that's the correct one. I'll show you exactly how that works as soon as we configured everything else and we're running the race. So if it's a little bit confusing, I'm sorry, it's just confusing material. So we created this iPico reader. It's called Simulator. It has a checkpoint. It's forced to checkpoint finish, and it's connecting to my simulator here, so that's great as well. And that's it for iPico Wiz. Now we're also going to have to configure the remote site. You need a laptop there with 3G or Wi-Fi or whatever. At least it needs internet. So since I can't show you this with a desktop capturing software I'm using, I'm going to do it on my PC as well. So we're running the entire race on my PC. So first thing, I need to start the iPico remote. We'll remove that because that will get created later on. Right, I'll put it in English, so it's a little bit more readable for you guys. This is the iPico remote client. You run this at the 5 kilometer point or whatever checkpoint you're using, and it'll give you a lot of information for the person that's on the 5 kilometer checkpoint. For instance, it'll show you a little globe here that's currently colored, which means that you are connected to the web server, which basically means your internet is okay. Oh, it doesn't auto-update. Hang on, I'll reboot it and you should get the English version then. That's a lot better. You actually notice the orb going from grey to colored when it's connected to the website, so that's good. You'll have a read buffer here, which is currently at 0. We have a send buffer and a tag send. Basically, when a tag is read, so somebody crosses the 5k checkpoint, this buffer will increase, and it gets emptied every 10 seconds, I think. It goes to the send buffer. The send buffer tries to send it over the internet. If it fails, it just doesn't do anything and keeps the data in the buffer. If it succeeds, then the number will go to the tag send. So you get a good indication of where your data is. Should the internet connection fail, for instance, this number will keep increasing and this one won't. So You'll see it when we're running the demo. You also notice the tag file. This is your backup. Should you get no connection at all, or maybe, I don't know, well, there's no internet there, this will create a tag file which you can just put on a USB stick and send somebody over to the finish and import it there as a last resort. The iPico state is disconnected, which is correct, and the web state is connected, which is good. So this is your settings panel. This holds your license, which I just whited out because it's our actually operational license, so I don't want you guys to see it. It's just the normal iPico Wiz license key, so you can use that one because you need to enter it here because I need to know which races to show you. Otherwise, you would get everybody's races and it would be a little bit confusing, I guess. Well, your language, which is in English now. The location of the tag file, you can put it anywhere you like. I usually put it on the desktop, it's easier to find for the people at the checkpoint. You get a combo box with the event. This should hold all your current events. I think 5 days after the event is passed, it will be removed from this combo box just to make it a little bit easier. So we'll check the new race, and our checkpoint is check 1, which is good. And our iPico reader is our simulator, which is also good. So now we can connect. We can close this, and that's it. It should be ready to go. Now I'm also going to put the iPico Wiz client behind this because that way you can see that this is not connected to the iPico reader at the moment. And we're going to see what happens when we start putting people over the 5K checkpoint. This should work. As you can see, the read buffer is filling up, and there it goes. So I'm going to stop this, and it's all nicely working. You see that the read buffer currently has 2 reads, and now it has 0. And so it nicely dribbles down to the tag send, which means he just sent 9 tags over the internet to the iPico Wiz. It's going to take a little while before this updates here. As you can see, that works fine. I'll also show you the tagmap.txt, which is of the tags.txt, which is your backup file. And it's nicely put on the desktop in this case. So one of the things you'll notice is that this isn't updating. That's a technical problem I'm still working on, but it should be fixed in future versions. It does work. So what we see here, I can click away the remote client for now, is we have 9 people that actually passed a checkpoint. You can show this on the digital display if you wish. It should update. You can even show the lap counter if you have it, it's no problem at all. And you can see, if I open the contestant panel, that he passed checkpoint 1 in this time, which is pretty bad, I think, for a 10K. Right, now we're also going to simulate when something goes wrong. I'm going to finish a couple of more people. Oops. So I finished about 14 people now, which is good. Now what I'm going to simulate is what happens when somebody doesn't cross the checkpoint. So you can see what happens there. I resetted my simulator and we're done with the checkpoint. For now we have 14 people past the checkpoint and the rest of my contestants haven't. For instance, maybe because the connection died or something like that. So I'm going to start finishing people for real on the finish line. So I'm going to connect my simulator now. Oh, by the way, you can also see how many unique tags crossed the checkpoint here. So that's a nice one to see how many people actually crossed all the checkpoints. Oh, shut up. Right, I'm going to start finishing people now. As you can see, this works fine. And now let's see what happens when somebody finishes that. Oh, they already those guys finished as well. It's 14. Should be around here. There we go. Right. So these people did not pass checkpoint 1, which could be because the connection is gone, or maybe they cheated. It's also possible. But it did pass the finish line. So you can actually see the difference between somebody who passed the checkpoint and who hasn't. But it doesn't affect the final results in any way. I mean, you get to decide whether or not that person is disqualified or not. So basically that's it. Should there be any more questions, you can always ask me. Send an email to l.dirks, D-I-R-K-S, at splittime.nl. Or if you have questions about licenses and pricing, you can ask our commercial man, that's Dennis Dirks, d.dirks at splittime.nl. And thank you for your interests.